Hello everyone, this is chapter 1, part 5. This is episode 2 of Size and Facts on Governments, US and the World. Let's talk about public goods, okay? We're going to talk about distribution of spending. Let's talk about public goods. Public goods are goods for which the investment of any one individual benefits everyone in a larger group. So we're going to talk more about the public good in the subsequent chapters. A pure public good is non-rival and also non-excludable, which means my use of that public good doesn't prevent others from using it. And then non-excludable means you cannot prevent people from enjoying it. For instance, public firework shows, right? Me watching it doesn't prevent others from watching it, and you can't exclude people from watching it. It's publicly available. So public good, again, is a good investment by one person. Let's say a very rich person in the city you live in has paid for the firework show. It benefits everybody. It's an example of public goods. Okay, example is, for instance, defense spending. Defense spending is something, once it's provided, it's non-excludable. You cannot tell people, hey, you're American, but we're not going to defend you. Number 2, it is non-rival. You protecting country, you protecting the whole body of citizens, not just one person. Let's also talk about social insurance programs. So spending goes to public programs, number 1. Social insurance programs, this has been growing tremendously. Government provision of insurance against adverse events. This is usually to address the market failures. Example is health insurance. Over time, spending has shifted dramatically towards social insurance programs from other defense spending. So this is a distribution of federal spending. This is a 1960 pie chart. This is the 2019 pie chart. In 1960, nearly half of federal government spending was on national defense. Today, actually, it is about 1/5. It's 14.2% of the budget. Okay, so here's a clarification. National defense spending today is probably larger than that of in 60s. But percentage-wise, it's smaller. Social security program used to be 12%. Now it is larger. Social security 18.74. So it's the single largest program. It's not the social security program includes not only social security, this is like retirement, but also health coverage. It also includes unemployment and disability coverage. Okay, so that's the biggest item. Okay, so this is the distribution of state and local spending, 1960 versus 2009 comparison. So where do states and local governments spend their money, right? This is like 40% of the total government spending is done at the state local levels. So education was the highest in the 60s. It's a little lower today. Look at this. Health spending was 8%. Today it's 24%. Ouch. So you have transportation shrinking. That's not good. Okay. Because that means it's crumbling infrastructure. Public order and safety is about the same. Welfare and social services at state local level has been shrinking, replaced by federal government. So education, welfare, public safety account for almost 40% of state and local government spending. The major development has been the parallel growth of healthcare spending and reduction in education. Education has gone down, and unfortunately health has gone up. Let's talk about the distribution of revenue sources. Number 1 is individual income tax. This is a tax levied on the income of US citizens. Let's say you rent an apartment, right? You rent a house and you make income, you have to pay taxes on that. Corporate tax revenues, these are the funds raised by taxing the incomes of companies in the United States. Payroll taxes, these are taxes on work earnings that fund social insurance programs. So there has been a major shift over time. We have seen corporate taxes shrinking. So rapid shrinking of corporate taxes and decrease in revenue was replaced by payroll taxes. So you're basically taxing workers heavily, companies less heavily. Okay, so this is the distribution of federal revenue sources 1960-2020. So income taxes about the same, right? You have corporate taxes used to be 23% of tax revenue. Now it's only less than 6%. Excise taxes 12.8, it has gone down 2.2. Social insurance and contributions, this is payroll tax, has increased substantially. So corporate tax revenues once provided about 25% of federal government revenue. So this is other. So this other is usually related to corporate. So about 25%. Now corporate taxes, this and other, about 12%, right? Payroll taxes has grown from 1/5 to well over 1/3, 40% almost. That's a lot. Okay, so let's talk about distribution of state local revenue sources. 1960s pie chart, 2020 pie chart. So local governments got their tax revenues from property taxes more heavily. Today they still rely on property taxes, but the percentage went down, replaced by federal grants in aid. So these are federal grants, was about 8.6%, now it's 24%. The colors of the charts are different. Okay, I didn't do that. So sales tax was about 27.4%, now it's 14.7%. Over the past 40 years, the substantial drop in revenue from property taxes has been made up by raising federal grants, income taxes. So in Texas, property taxes are really, really high. Sales taxes are really, really high. And federal grants and aid are not as high. Okay, let's talk about the other role of the government. This is the regulatory role of government. FDA, Food Drug Administration, regulates nearly 25% of consumer expenditures. It regulates the labeling and safety of nearly all food products, bottled water, tests cosmetics to ensure their safety, approves drugs, medical devices to be sold in public. We have OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They oversee workplaces and workplace safety. So they regulate 135 million Americans' workplaces with 8.9 million job sites. FCC, Federal Communications Commission, regulates interstate and international communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, cable, and now internet, right? EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is charged with minimizing dangerous pollutants in our air, water, and food supplies. Okay, so let's talk about policy debates over social security, healthcare, and education. Public finance topics are at the forefront of public policy debates. Liberal and conservative viewpoints differ. So social security, should we privatize or raise payroll taxes? So conservative viewpoints say let's privatize. Liberal viewpoints say just raise payroll taxes. Healthcare, should we have socialized medicine? That's more liberal point of view, or give people tax subsidies, more conservative. Education, should we increase the teacher pay and make it more attractive? Make this profession more attractive for teachers or high quality teachers, or should we offer vouchers to students so they can go to private schools? Okay, so this is a cool question, practice question 1. Which one of these is not one of the 4 questions of public finance? Remember, how might the government intervene? When should the government intervene? Who should the government intervene for? Why do governments choose to intervene in the way they do? And in next slide, it shows the answer. And we are done with chapter 1. I will see you in chapter 2. Get ready for a very, very exciting chapter. And before I go, I'm going to tell you the answer. What was it? I want to say, who should the government intervene for? Okay, so that's my answer. Let's check. Yes, I think so. In 2016, which of these types of taxes was major component of both federal revenues and state local taxes? I'm not going to give you the answer, and you can find the answer on the PowerPoint slide at the bottom. I'll see you all later. Bye.